to lose. Everything is lost. Time to turn to the new. Stand in your ground. Hold it. Man-made earthquakes shake their foundation. Centuries of colonies. Time for erasure of stains. Questions. Life. I am living. I am breathing. I am healing. I am grieving. I am conscious. I am not hard pressed. I am not affected. I am corrected. I am no longer neglected. I am perfected. I am attracted.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Pinkies up, pinkies up. It's time for tea. I'm your guy, Dontel, joined with our co-host, Meg. What's going on today, Meg?
Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. Pinkies up.
Yeah, I forgot it's morning time. The days just run together for me. Hashtag I'll sleep when I die. Y'all already know we're back. We're back with another weather show, bringing you all the tea. Meg, what is sleep?
I know, for real. I definitely agree. What is sleep? We will sleep when we die. We have a lot of work to do. And
That's right.
by golly, we're going to get her done today.
That's right, because here at the Tea, we provide those news, interviews, and commentary that you desire, the pop culture, politics, music, and more, because nothing's off the table. Things can get spilled when you don't censor a dish. For all news and resources mixed with history, we're here to be the true, authentic, independent media. So, what Kool-Aid are you drinking? Because we've got some tea for you, a healthy dose of information that will feed your soul, inform, and educate. We want to thank you for viewing and supporting. If you'd like to support more, you already know what to do. Get the notification set to be informed when you're live. When we are live, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the notification button. And if you're looking into advertising opportunities, interviews, or want to provide information, DM us on Facebook, email us, or text us at the contacts at the bottom of the screen. And also, if you're looking to donate to the cause, you can find out how at the bottom of the screen as well. So let's go ahead and get into it, because we've got a lot of breaking news going on today, brought to you by a lot of different news sources. But this first story, first of all, I'm going to give you a trigger warning because it's deep. I'm just going to... What's that?
I said it's very heavy stuff.
It is. I want people to be aware of what they're about to witness. We're going to start off with this. What's your name?
Because I'm going to talk to you. I need to talk to you.
What's your name? Why would that matter, bro? You don't have no reason to pull me over. You're riding your bike the wrong way on the road. Oh, I just crossed the street.
So he was riding his bike the wrong way on the road. And again, to our audience, this is San Antonio Police Department, who was also involved in the Eric Cantu situation last week.
I'm gonna shoot you. I'm gonna shoot you.
So within 1 minute and 37 seconds, this young man's life is now over because he was riding his bicycle on the wrong side of the road in San Antonio, Texas.
He literally said, and this is from another police officer's body cam.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
She couldn't even get her gun out before he shot and killed this man.
So because he didn't even run yet. He was just trying to move away. It was clear he didn't have a weapon. Even if he did, he was posing no threat.
So my comment for this situation is San Antonio, Texas. What is your procedures, policies, and protocols as far as de-escalation techniques go for these type of situations? Because first off, last week we had an officer just randomly open a door of a child, 17-year-old Eric Cantu, in a McDonald's parking lot and just start free firing all over the parking lot. Now this week we are shooting and killing a man because he's riding his bicycle on the wrong side of the road. What is going on, America? Pay attention. Arm yourself with knowledge. This could have been your brother, your father, your son. Not an okay situation.
Indeed, it's not okay. And this is the kind of stuff that we watch every day. and it's hard to watch. This was gut wrenching for me. The
But
dude
at the
posed
same,
Go ahead.
right, he posed no threat. And what's so like sad too is, you know, people turn their heads to this type of stuff every day just
Mhm.
because it's uncomfortable to talk about. Well,
Mhm.
guys, if we don't get uncomfortable and really raise above that realm of consciousness to understand, like, this is the problem. The fundamental problem is the system. The root of the problem is the system. It's how these officers are going about their jobs. It's how these public officials are going about their jobs. It's the cover up that's going on within. We have to pay very close attention and report for ourselves what we see every single day, because if we don't, we cannot rely on the mainstream media.
For real. Speaking of mainstream media, a local mainstream media news source in Cleveland is giving us a story about a jury in Cleveland acquitting an 83-year-old man who had spent 45 years in prison before, after being convicted at his first trial of killing his wife.
Yes, and he die shortly thereafter. I believe there's like, that's the crazy turn in that story. He was exonerated, but then shortly thereafter he passed away.
Wow.
Yeah,
You know,
and
this
like,
article does not mention it.
and where's his compensation, you know, for all those years that he spent wrongfully convicted? We just spoke about this last night, you know, with Marvina Haynes and her regarding her brother Marvin Haynes. He's been in there now 18 years. Now this man spent 45 years in prison. That's how many people was directly impacted just because him not being a part of, you know, their
Right.
life. Did he have children? Like, we have questions, you know, like, this cannot keep happening. If we have to be accountable, so does the government, so does the police department, so does any elected position that we have in office. We all have to remain accountable and transparent.
I've got another story from Fox 8 out of the Akron, Cleveland market. Disappointed but not surprised. Activist family attorneys speak out after Akron officers return to work.
Without their names being released yet.
Mhm.
Let's all take note of that. Whenever a police officer involves shooting, usually within a week's tops, usually 24 hours, the police officers' names are released. With this situation with Jayland Walker, he was killed by a firing squad. We have the video. At one time, we will be showing the video, but we are how many months later, and these officers' names have still not been released. What is going on? Accountability? Question mark. Transparency? Question mark. I would be scared to death to live in Ohio right now.
Staffing levels in our police department.
Akron Police Chief Steve Milet defended the decision to bring the officers back, saying the department is now down 50 officers, with more expected to leave by the end of the year.
To the point where I'm being put in a position where I may end up having to decide to cut some services.
The 8 officers will be on desk duty amid the ongoing investigation. They've been on paid administrative leave since the shooting.
I believe it will make a significant difference because, you know, every call that an officer is able to handle over the telephone is one less response by a field officer.
We all understand staffing shortages. If somebody brought charges against you at your job and you were suspended, you wouldn't come back because they were short on reporters. You would come back after the investigation was done.
And attorneys for the Walker family say that the planning behind the decision is callous and ignores the Walker family's need for a fair process.
Right.
They issued a statement saying the decision to reinstate these officers, even to desk duty, fails to investigation into their actions. This decision undermines the legitimacy of the investigation process the Walker family has been asked to follow, in which BCI has led to this point. On behalf of the Walker family, we call on the city of Akron to do the right thing and place the officers back on leave until the investigation has been completed.
Unpaid leave, ladies and gentlemen. They should not get shot, or they should not get paid for shooting somebody, especially by firing squad. Just wait until you all see the video.
In Akron.
Talk about it.
That video is so hard for even our team of people to consistently sit and go over. We've now received over 32 body cam footage videos in real time of Jayland Walker shooting. It is graphic as hell, and it's disgusting, it's disheartening, it's stomach wrenching. And we've had it for how long, Jontel? We still can't make it through it because our hearts can't handle it.
No, and we're inundated with so much other news. So if you are looking to volunteer for Leon Block to be a reporter or correspondent, contact us at theleonblock@gmail.com because we could use some help always. It's a community.
Always. Yes.
And unity makes us work. This is what community looks like. We keep us safe.
Right.
So according to this article, it says members of the Freedom Block, which is a community activist organization in the city, reacted to the news that all 8 police officers who fired dozens of rounds at 25-year-old Jayland Walker returning to work Monday. They said, quote, "This sends a message loud and clear to the community that this administration does not care what the community feels or thinks," said Ray Green with the Freedom Block. Akron Police Chief Steve Milet defended the decision to bring the officers back, saying the department is now down 50 officers, with more expected to leave by the end of the year.
So pause. Why 50 officers? Because there was only eight officers that discharged their firearm. So where did 50 come from? Because is that how many people, they have on leave due to them shooting people in Akron? Like 50 is a weird number. There was 8 officers, correct? That discharged their firearm.
Mm-hmm.
So where does 50 come from? Now we're missing 42 people. Odd. That doesn't make sense. That's inconsistent as hell. Make it make sense, somebody.
Ay. Let's go ahead to the next story. But you're right. Make it make sense. I'm still stuck on the first story. Sorry, y'all. This is via the Kansas City Defender on Instagram. Breaking news: a bombshell multi-county investigation began last Friday when a 22-year-old black woman escaped bondage after being kidnapped and held captive in a basement torture dungeon of an Excelsior Springs, Missouri man's home for a month. Yeah, the man is identified as Timothy Haslett Jr., a white 39-year-old male. Of course, go figure. I'm sorry, but not sorry. The victim, identified as the Elias TJ in court records, told investigators that her friends did not make it and that Haslett killed 2 of my friends.
Man, Missouri be coming out with some of the craziest stories.
This is news to me.
Court
document read, he kept her restrained in handcuffs on her wrists and ankles. Wow. He whipped her while she was restrained. She said a man by the name of Timothy picked her up on Prospect in Kansas City at the beginning of September 2022. In mid to late September, the Kansas City Defender published a video of Bishop Tony Caldwell, a local Kansas City community leader who was one of the many in the Black Kansas City community who made reports of numerous murdered and missing Black women. I do remember this. In the video, Bishop Caldwell specifically identified that the women who were missing were being taken from an area on Prospect Avenue in Kansas City. The Kansas City Police Department made a statement addressing the community testimonies and called them completely unfounded rumors, dismissing the concerns. There are now 4 major confirmed facts which deeply disprove KCPD's earlier statements. Number 1, a Black woman was kidnapped, raped, and tortured. Number 2, she was picked up on Prospect Avenue in early September during the exact time frame that community members began expressing concerns of numerous missing and murdered Black women in this exact area. Number 3, she said her friends did not make it out and were killed by Timothy Haslett Jr. Number 4, police have confirmed that detectives are taking her claim seriously and are actively investigating if Haslett has other victims. At first, the police said there was no evidence of a serial killer or any young ladies missing. I could see them saying we can't comment on an ongoing investigation or leave it at that, but for them to say conclusively it's not happening, to completely shut our concerns down, that's just wrong. That is Bishop Caldwell's words.
Missouri, for it to be such a Bible Belt state, because Missouri is very religious. That's where I was like born and raised. They have some crazy ass people in that state, because the last story I heard was right around the corner from where I grew up, and they actually put this woman in a cage and was selling pictures of her being tortured on the black market. And the cops walked into their house, and he was eating a human remains sandwich. Like, these people are crazy. I'm so glad I got out of there when I did.
I hear that. The woman was discovered around 8 a.m. last Friday when reports of a woman banging on doors and crying for help reportedly reached the police. The victim, identified by the alias TJ, told investigators that her friends didn't make it out and that he killed 2 of them. The official report says that he kept her restrained in handcuffs on her wrists and ankles, and he whipped her while she was restrained. That she had a metal collar around her neck, a metal collar,
like she was a dog.
I am a little upset right now. The reason I'm upset is because we got 4 young ladies that have been murdered within the last week here off of 85th and Prospect. We got a serial killer again, and ain't nobody saying nothing. The media is not covering it. We got 3 young ladies that are missing. Ain't nobody saying a word. What is the problem? Why can't we get some cooperation? Where's our community leaders? Where's our activists? Where's our public officials? Where's our police department? Where is some folks at? In President Garden. Come on now. We need to start knocking doors. We need to start making sure that this is brought to the light. We cannot continue to let this happen.
Wow.
Completely unfounded rumors dismissing the concerns because they don't want you to know.
Because it's missing black women. That's why. And of course, local and major news stations have not covered it.
Because they want to cover it up. They don't want to cover it. They want to cover it up.
Yep. So we will post a link in the comments for everyone to check out. Our heart goes out to everyone in Missouri at the moment who may be dealing with this. I know that it's a lot. I know we're giving you a lot of news today. So let me break it up by giving you stuff that isn't still very serious, but can we really take this person serious? I mean, you tell me. Can we really take this guy serious? I don't know. I can't. But, the House January 6th committee subpoenaed Donald Trump. The investigation, the U.S. Capitol insurrection has voted to subpoena former President Donald Trump, demanding he turn over documents and testify about his role in fomenting violence on January 6th. The committee's vote on Thursday afternoon capped what's widely expected to be its last public hearing. The Supreme Court rejected his appeal over classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. So 5 people were killed by a white male juvenile gunman in Raleigh, North Carolina, Thursday afternoon in a residential area on a walking trail in Raleigh. Police say they've arrested a suspect identified only as a white male juvenile who has been hospitalized. He is alive.
Exactly. That's a good question. That's a good observation. Is if it was, a community member of our Black and brown communities, would they have, arrested him or would they have shot him?
Right.
Because white people, for some reason, they end up in jail. A lot of these black and brown people end up dead. What is the difference? There is none. We all bleed the same.
The mayor of Raleigh said, quote, "We have to end this mindless gun violence that is happening in our country. We have work to do, but there are too many victims and we have to wake up." Speaking of mass shootings, a jury in Florida has rejected the death penalty for Nicholas Cruz, who killed 17 people in a 2018 mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, the Parkland shooter. On Thursday, Cruz was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole after a single juror refused to recommend a death sentence. Under Florida law, death penalty cases require a unanimous decision. The life sentence drew angry reactions from family members who packed the courtroom. Dr. Ilan Mark Alduff said, quote, "I'm disgusted with the system that you can allow 17 dead and 17 others shot and wounded and not give the death penalty. What do we have the death penalty for?"
Exactly.
What is the purpose of it? Right.
The death penalty is supposed to be for capital punishment cases, which this falls under.
Nope. The death penalty in America is for black people who are innocent to be sentenced to death.
85%, me and my data, 85% of Americans held for life imprisonment are innocent. Replay that back.
Run that back and run it down.
Right. 85% of people that are incarcerated currently are innocent. We have to think of things such as lack of counsel, lack of, evidence being distributed and discovery being, distributed by the trial dates. We just had that incident last weekend with an individual that we're close to.
Hold on, I needed to refill my cup and sip some tea.
Yes.
It's been a minute. My mouth is dry and I'm a little frustrated. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yes, I feel you. Let's take a commercial break.
Oh my goodness, did I just rhyme? I'm always freestyling up in here.
Circumstantial, honey.
Sainthood is circumstantial.
Yes.
As we seen with the Parkland shooter, some Parkland survivors were against capital punishment. Cameron Caskey, who was 17 and a junior at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas at the time of the attack, said, quote, "The death penalty is barbaric and implementing state violence will not bring any of the victims back." He added, quote, "Make no mistake, it's the politicians who support the gun lobby that should be held accountable for this," which is true. And I'm a pacifist. I don't support the death penalty either.
I don't support the death penalty, but I say kill him. Pardon me, but just get it done. Because if I've watched death by lethal injection happen. I'm not sure if anybody has ever taken the time to look that up on YouTube. It's very informational because you wouldn't know otherwise.
Like you watch somebody die.
Yeah, I've watched a couple people die actually. And this is the most they actually, to go on a little bit further, they pay somebody to inject lethal medication into these prisoners. They give them $300. They are not phlebotomists. They are not like professional medical technicians. They could be Joe Schmo off the street. Me and you could do it.
So somebody that just likes to watch people die.
Yes.
Oh my
And that's why there's so many like mess ups within this, within the lethal injection realm, is because these people are not qualified to do what they're doing. They're not doctors. They're not LPNs. They're not RNs. They're nothing.
That's crazy.
It's disgusting. And if one minor move could critically change the outcome of the lethal injection, people because what they're giving you is like deadly, of course, but like it's shutting down your organs and stuff, and like such cruel and unusual, like their 8th Amendment or 7th Amendment, 8th Amendment is being broken by lethal injection. But I still say kill the Parkland shooter. F it. Because he made a choice, and if it was me or you, they would say put him down.
Right. Yeah, that's true. All right, so the U.S. begins Title 42 expulsions of Venezuelan asylum seekers, and I've been upset about this. Fuck Biden. The Biden administration has started expelling Venezuelan asylum seekers to Mexico under an expansion of the pandemic and Trump-era Title 42 policy that's been used to block at least 2 million migrants from applying for asylum at the U.S.-Mexico border. The U.S. government this week announced it will only accept up to 24,000 Venezuelans under a new plan, while rapidly expelling others who do not meet strict financial and other criteria. Sounds like classism to me. Some 25,000 Venezuelan asylum seekers were apprehended at the southern border in the month of August alone, as people continue to flee in part due to the catastrophic impacts of U.S. economic sanctions on Venezuela. So think about that for a second. The U.S. is causing the flee from Venezuela, and Venezuelans are fleeing to America, and in return, they're sending them back. Wow. So Venezuelan asylum seeker Leonesi Castillo, who was expelled to Mexico on Thursday, said, quote, "I entered the United States. They sent us back with no response. They registered our fingerprints, took our pictures, and then sent us back over the bridge saying, like, go back home again. They didn't say anything. They requested that we have a relative who has been living there in the U.S. for over 4 or 5 years. It's unfair. We want a response. We're in Mexico. We have run out of money. We've had our bags stolen. Shelters don't take us in. We're stranded in the street. Nobody wants to help us." End quote.
Wake up, America.
Texas sheriff says migrants sent to Martha's Vineyard were victims of crime. In more immigration news, the Texas Tribune reports a group of asylum seekers who were flown from Texas to Martha's Vineyard by Republican Florida Governor Ron DeSantis last month may be able to apply for a special visa to stay in the United States. Right. Israeli forces killed 20-year-old Palestinian in the occupied West Bank. They fatally shot this man during a raid on the Jenin refugee camp yesterday morning. 20-year-old Mateen Dabaya is at least the 160th. Let me run that back. At least the 160th Palestinian person killed by Israel in the West Bank this year alone.
Wow.
Among the wounded was physician Abdullah Al-Ahmad, who is in critical condition with a gunshot wound to the head. Al Jazeera reported that Israeli forces were filmed shooting at ambulance crews.
Wow. They ratchet.
This is what goes on every single day. Like, they want everyone dead, and they're doing everything they can to kill every last Palestinian. And when they see that you're still breathing, they do everything they can to try and kill you still. It's ridiculous.
God bless them.
So this is really scary. This is even scarier to me. A new report warns that some wild animal populations are declining on a devastating scale. The 2022 Living Planet Index finds populations of amphibians, birds, fish, mammals, and reptiles that were tracked for the study have declined by an average of 69% since 1970.
Wow.
69%.
That's very high.
The report's authors note that populations of many species have increased over that time. That would be like cows, chickens, pigs, you know what I mean? Even as the biodiversity of animal species continue to plunge rapidly, which makes sense due to the combined effects of habitat loss, overfishing, pollution, and climate crises. So look, I'm sorry for all of but in Florida, a federal judge has held the Federal Bureau of Prisons and a local warden in contempt of court over their neglect and indifference to the plight of a 54-year-old man who was a prisoner dying of cancer. Frederick Mervyn Bardell was diagnosed with an intestinal mass several years ago, at a time when his tumor was treatable. But his repeated requests for compassionate release and healthcare were denied as his cancer metastasized. In a scathing 12-page ruling, U.S. District Judge Roy Dalton wrote, quote, "The treatment of Mr. Bardell received in the last few days of his life is inconsistent with the moral values of a civilized society and unworthy of the Department of Justice of the United States of America, end quote. The judge's order contained photographs of Bardell just after he had arrived at a hospital bleeding, incontinent, and emaciated after he was deposited on the curb of the Dallas-Fort Worth airport to fend for himself.
What?
He died 9 days after his release.
Wow.
And if you saw pictures of this man, I'm not going to show you, but I will give you links to Democracy Now! So you can actually, I will show you the video from Democracy Now! So you can see, because what they have done is ridiculous. Let me go ahead and pull it up. In the meantime, we will go ahead and go to a commercial break, y'all.
It's clear this is a full-scale invasion.
Rubber bullets, helicopters, armored vehicles.
Hey y'all, we are back with some more tea. I wanted to pull up the video clips of some of these stories because me just speaking it really doesn't do it any justice. So let me go ahead and get into what they're talking about on Democracy Now! Let's get into it.
Frederick Marvin Bardell was diagnosed with an intestinal mass several years ago at a time when his tumor was treatable. But his repeated requests for compassionate release and healthcare were denied. This cancer.
Oh my God. It's another Castiello Vaughn.
Yes,
Judge
yes.
Roy Bolton wrote, quote, "The treatment Mr. Bardell received in the last days of his life is inconsistent with civilized society and unworthy of the Department of Justice of the United States."
In violation of his United States constitutional rights.
Bardell just after he'd arrived at a hospital.
Basic human needs. If they were being met, he would still be alive today. Look how skinny his freaking arms are.
54.
To fend
54 years old, and look at that man.
They got him looking like he's 80.
Yes. Because
Now
his
check this
natural
out.
basic human needs were being met while incarcerated, just like millions of people across the world.
Mm-hmm. Check this out, yo. You're gonna like just listen to this. You're gonna freak out.
Craig Ridley was left to starve and die after prison guards broke his neck in 2017.
What?
Video taken by a prison official shortly after the catastrophic injury reveals guards ignored Ridley's protest that, quote, "My neck is broken and I'm paralyzed."
Oh my God.
And place an inmate on the ground right here. At this time, the inmate's refusing to walk, to go to medical for his treatment. Person supposed to be doing treatment fine. He's got a wheelchair on the way. Scott, give me your assistance, sir.
The guards repeatedly accused Ridley of faking his injury and hoisted his limp body into a wheelchair. Greg Ridley died October 12, 2017, 5 years ago this week, intubated and unable to communicate.
I hope to God that family sued the fuck out of that prison.
Right.
This is horrible. And this just happens like over and over again. It's just like Brittany Griner, who fell out the back of a paddy wagon. It's just like there was a guy, I believe, that was slammed into the front and he was paralyzed and they accused him of faking it. Like, be compassionate. That's all it takes. Show humanity. That's all it takes. Be human. Like,
So-
oh my gosh, that irks my soul.
I know we're pressed for time, but I just wanted to jump into a quick story real quick. The Wall Street Journal reports Kroger and Albertsons are in talks to secure a deal that, if approved, would unite the two largest supermarket operators in the United States. Progressive groups are calling on the Federal Trade Commission to reject the merger, warning supermarket consolidation usually leads to price hikes. We've already got Walmart, like we don't need them merging.
Ain't that the truth?
Yes.
They profitizing, honey. $8 for a can of spaghetti sauce.
Talk about it. Okay, so I want to show you this clip via NBC News about the shooting that left a 29-year-old off-duty officer dead, with other victims ages ranging from 16 to 52.
Perfect rendition of the song Her Didn't Give It Away. That's because I have no rhythm. Megan Thee Stallion is going to be tonight's host and musical guest. And it looks like Megan is already getting comfortable in studio. A cable lead earlier this month. She looks fabulous.
Well, I guess that's the wrong story. But a 15-year-old suspect was taken into custody after a long standoff with police in connection with a shooting that killed 5 people and left 2 others injured Thursday evening in Raleigh, North Carolina, officials said. And Governor Roy Cooper called the shooting spree the nightmare of every community. We will post that link in the comments for y'all to check out. In other news, Pennsylvania City's rent, number 2 fastest rising in the United States. It's no news to say the housing market is very much up to the air at the moment, but so too is the renting market, and with rents in one Pennsylvania city growing at the second fastest pace in the country. What city is that?
Lancaster.
Nope. Pittsburgh.
Ah, interesting.
Right.
Lancaster's rent is high as hell.
Yeah,
Always.
I would say Lancaster's in the top 5 for sure.
100%.
President Biden was asked this week about potentially meeting with Vladimir Putin to discuss Brittany Griner's release. His response to that question was telling. Not with Putin, said Biden, when asked if there's any movement on this front. Obviously, this is not what Griner wants to hear, because she has been in Russia since February due to the drug-related incident. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the United States sent a serious proposal to Russia back in July. Apparently, Russia didn't respond to that offer. Griner has been sentenced to 9 years in prison. Her lawyer, Alexander Boykov, provided an unfortunate update on her, saying she is not yet absolutely convinced that America will be able to take her home. It's hard to be confident when the United States and Russia can't work together on a potential prisoner swap, not to mention the war that, is supposedly happening. And In other news, the leadership behind the second most populous city in the country was in a state of uncertainty Wednesday as the Los Angeles City Council tried to meet again amid uproar over a recording in which one of the city's top officials used racist language. The meeting ended before officials could even begin conducting city business as rowdy protesters drowned out officials. So the LA City Council was set to meet for the second time since the leaked audio revealed the city council's president, Nuri Martinez, made racist remarks and disparaged colleagues in a file obtained by the Los Angeles Times. Protesters had already begun to gather outside the city hall. In the audio recording obtained by the Times, Martinez could be heard making racist statements about a white council member's child, saying her colleague, his young black son, as though he were an accessory, and describing the colleague's son in Spanish as, quote, like a monkey. And we did air this footage of the audio from one of the previous shows. I believe it was the Urban Conservative. I co-host all y'all shows, so it's just sometimes I forget all it all runs together. But I think it was the Urban Conservative. Chaz had played it.
Wow.
So Mark announced Tuesday that she was taking a leave of absence. Martinez and Ron Herrera, president of the Los Angeles County Federation of Labor, both resigned from their presidency positions on Monday, according to the Times. Two other council members heard on the call, Jill Cedillo and Kevin De Leon, have not resigned. In addition to the three council members heard on the leaked audio, 3 current or former council members have been indicted or pleaded guilty to corruption charges. It was unclear whether the city council will be able to assemble the required 10 members out of 15 total to conduct business on Wednesday.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
these are
so
elected, these are to note, these are also elected officials. Pay attention to who you vote for, everybody. We all need to vote, but we all also have to be educated and armed with knowledge about who we vote for.
talk about it. Portland prosecutor pushes to shield criminal non-citizens from deportation. And in other news, the DA to charge 15-year-old Raleigh shooting suspect as an adult. Okay.
As he should be the moment he decided to take people's lives.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
And I want to give the last story about testimony from oh goodness, what was her name now? I'm forgetting it.
So you say you saw what happened?
I saw the cop shoot the guy.
Did he have a gun on him?
I did not see a gun on him.
And the baby was coming out the store. Jaheem was coming out the store.
He was coming out of the store.
And my other son, with his hands up?
With his hands up.
Was he asked for his hands to go up?
Pardon me?
Was he asked to put his hands up?
I did not hear that. I had just pulled in and I saw it happen. I'm having PTSD or whatever you call it, but yes.
Okay. Do you mind sharing your name?
Pardon me?
What is your name?
My name's Deborah Stout.
Deborah Stout?
About Stout.
Stout. It's Deborah Stout.
Yeah, I talked to, I think, his niece. She was here. She had braids on. And I followed her home because she had a little boy at home. Just to make sure she was home, but yeah, I didn't see it.
We thank you so much.
I'm so sorry. I will pray. I will pray for y'all.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And
can we get your phone number? You can write.
Could you imagine going to Dollar General and seeing police murder a child that was unarmed?
Mind you, this is out of Gulfport, Mississippi. So the story that we've been talking about Jaheim McMillan. Yeah, so this, imagine pulling up to a dollar store and witnessing police shoot a young boy in the head as you're pulling up to go get some spatulas.
Right. And then you're forever traumatized from the system. You're directly impacted by being indirectly impacted, which is so crazy because she didn't do anything wrong, just like he didn't do anything wrong. You're innocent until proven guilty.
So the shooting Go ahead.
So many articles contradict themselves because obviously the government wants to paint the picture of a 15-year-old black male that had a weapon. He was in the Dollar General, and if you read other articles, not mainstream media, they will say that he was unarmed. Justice for Jaheim, for sure. They took his life. He'll never go to prom. He'll never get to graduate. He'll never get to get married. For what? If that was me or you that killed somebody, we would be in jail. Have they even released the officer's name that shot and killed him?
I'm not sure, but I don't think so.
Mississippi, pay attention. They're killing your kids.
Oh man, I know it's been a loaded show, y'all. Yeah, I do. My heart goes out to the world. Make sure that you are always taking care of yourself. Stay vigilant. Stay united. Be united. Get in touch with your community. Reach out if you can help out in your community. Definitely do it, because we must be clear in understanding what the fundamental problem is and understand that the root problem is the system. And the only way we will change is if we bring leaders in and commit to the long haul, like connecting through community, because you are the media. You are what helps us grow. Just by donating or even simply sharing this stream, you are sharing a message. And if you want the truth, the real raw news, as we all want, we've got to do it ourselves, because being informed is important. And without information, without true and real information, we are left in the dark and with a weak spot. So we will change that. All right. The Leon Block Independent Media is here to rock with y'all. So as always, Meg, actually, before I wrap it up, is there any last things you want to say?
Elevate, meditate, love one another, pay attention, advocate for yourselves, advocate for your communities. The communities are hurting. Show love, compassion, kindness to others, and pray for one another, because it's a lot bigger than this problem. As far as the system is a lot bigger than us, but it's never too big for the greater powers that be.
That's right. Well said.
Check me out on Freedom for All, y'all.
Yes. Catch Freedom for All, y'all. Generally airing, I think it's Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. Yes. With reruns the rest of the week, evenings. So check her out. Make sure y'all meditate on your path, celebrate your being, liberate your spirit, and educate yourself. I'm John Tell.
And I'm your girl, Meg.
Have a good one, y'all.
See ya.
advertise your business to a diverse and conscious audience? Are you looking to give back to your community or have your voice heard? Leon Block is looking for you. We want to provide people and small businesses with more traffic while connecting more people from all backgrounds, as well as integrating viewers more into what we do. Community is everything. Will you join us in helping build a better community? Leon Block Independent Media Group is a grassroots independent media platform by the people seeking to fill the gaps news deserts have created. Left and socialist leaning, we are pro-black, and we cover stories of police brutality, human rights, environmental issues, racism, and more in a more in-depth way that the mainstream can't, won't, and doesn't provide. Our mission is to change the way citizens look at media, to embolden everyone to take part in politics and become an integral and active part of their community, to enrich all of our lives, and to combat racism. We focus on police-involved cases and incidents of racism, spirituality, world issues and news, history, music and art, environment, and many more. The Leon Block Independent Media is a network providing press, arts, and other media and resources aimed to better reconnect the most oppressed. We run daily web shows through social media, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and post information about current events or simple memes to make you think. We try to target different audiences, and we do not censor anyone as we seek to provide truth that mainstream media does not. Check out our websites. You can also reach out to us via email or text. And if you'd like to reach out for more information or more information on our sponsorship opportunities as well, please hit us up through text at 484-909-0873. Hope to hear from you.